Yes, my Straight Talk family, when you hear that theme song, you know it signals the time when I should be saying greetings to the entire world, because we are on the World Wide Web and we reach and we communicate with you wherever you are on this globe, as long as you have access to Wi-Fi. So I'm at liberty to say good night, I'm at liberty to say good morning, and I'm at liberty to say good afternoon. But let's start with a very pleasant night to my Straight Talk family in St. Kitts and Nevis, and my Straight Talk family throughout the entire Caribbean region. And I reach and communicate with my Straight Talk family in the Kittitian, Nevisian, and Caribbean diaspora. And I know that some of you are in Africa. Yes, some of you are in Abuja. And welcome to Straight Talk. And some of you are in Europe. There's some of you in Asia. And there are a whole lot of you all over North America. So I am at liberty, as I said, to say good night. I'm at liberty to say good morning, and I'm at liberty to say good afternoon, because one of such greetings will be applicable to the region in which you now find yourselves. If you are in England, like my Newtown friend Chris Collins, I'll tell him good morning, and to all the England posse, as we call them. But let me welcome in particular our first-timers and thank those who continue to share the link, because whatever you do, you give us first-timers. And for the first-timers, let me inform you that Straight Talk is a public service program that facilitates and promotes free, underline free expression on all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and or political issues. On Straight Talk, you do have a forum to express yourselves, like I say, freely. And on this program, we try to raise the level of national, regional, and international consciousness. We try to raise the level of national, regional, and international discourse. And we do so by alerting our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Patches Liebert, and I must always thank Almighty God for blessing me with the opportunity to join you in conversation on yet another occasion. As your host, I will continue to pledge to remain an untiring advocate of truthfulness. We are called, like the hymn writer says, to be God's prophets, speaking for the truth and for the right, standing firm for godly justice, and bringing all those evil things to light. So let us seek the courage needed, our high calling, to fulfill that we all may know the blessing of the doing of God's will. So my Straight Talk family, may I assure you that absolutely nothing is watered down on this program. We never try to make it more interesting, neither by omission or by exaggeration. Straight Talk is not about sensationalism or creating excitement, especially if that will have to come at the expense of accuracy, because we always lead on the facts as it is my bounden duty, I will always tell you, to present what I call the unvarnished truth, the plain truth, especially when it comes to governance, transparency, accountability, here in the Federation or wherever you are in the world, because we join our people together across our Federation, and we join with people in the diaspora all around the world. Some we know very well, some we do not know, some we have met, and some we will never meet. But the point is, we are a different people. So we will always entertain what I call a diversity of views. And some will agree with the positions of truth advanced on Straight Talk. And some will disagree, and that's okay. That's fine. We can agree to disagree. But please never, ever become disagreeable. Let us thank Almighty God, therefore, for helping us to understand, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. Let us therefore hope and pray for that day when we will all sing his praise together. So welcome again, my people, and thanks for those who continue to share the link, and please always do, because you bring us first-timers. And for the first-timers, if you love it, go tell it over the mountain, go tell it over the world. If you don't, find some way to tell me. And for you first-timers in particular, Straight Talk is a participative program. By that I mean, we entertain your calls, we include your emails as well. And for those who want to participate, the numbers are on your screens. For those who like what I call the cloak of anonymity, you don't want to be heard, we give you access by our email platform, and that address is also on your screen. And there's some who have access to Alexa. And just say, Alexa, play Massive Vibes Radio. And thank my brother Massive for providing the access at a nominal cost. My Straight Talk family, and for the first-timers, remember this is a public service. And we thank you for any support you may give and for helping us. And we always have to recognize our Straight Talk Junior Brigade. Tristan, Jasmine, Dwayne, Kevin, Shamar, Rue, Jamal, Travis, Travon, my grandson Neymar is always cocking his ear to make certain I call his name. And his good friend Soraya, Elizabeth, and that special lady in St. Louis. We all say greetings to you. Greetings to Carla in Sandy Point as well. We normally have our observations and review. That's the time when we highlight the current issues, we do some reflection, we ask a few questions. What was accomplished? How it helped others? What changed since, and what is expected, and what we have learned as a people? Because yes, it's a learning process. And after our observations in review, we move to our thesis for tonight, which I've titled, Dance a Yard Before You Dance Abroad. And our first observation, my Straight Talk family, and many of you are calling me about that big announcement. Yes, there will be a big announcement come next month. We'll tell you all about it. So keep your fingers crossed. You'll enjoy the news, I trust. And our first observation, my Straight Talk family, Straight Talk must congratulate the government of Dominica, the government of the Republic of Dominica, I should say, to be politically correct. And my friend, yes, haven't seen him for a long time, Dr. Vince Henderson. Vince has been guiding this renewable energy development in Dominica for lots of years. And he's now guided that process to reality. And while the actual plant, that's the geothermal plant in Dominica, is only now coming online, Dominica has been pursuing geothermal energy, believe it or not, since the late 60s, making it one of the longest running renewable energy efforts in the Caribbean. The active project development phase, it's about 15 or 20 years. But the overall timeline is about 55 years since the early research in 1969. And we are happy that we can report this about Dominica.
Dominica has taken another major step towards clean energy with progress at the country's first geothermal power plant. Last Thursday, March 5th, technicians successfully turned on one of the plant's 2 geothermal units as part of ongoing testing.
We saw the turning on of the turbine. That is to say, on Thursday, March 5th, we had the opening or the turning on of the 1 unit out of 2 geothermal units. And very exciting news. And well, this 1 unit went on, operated for a few hours, and we saw a few minutes ago power being dispatched to Dominica. So it is exciting news for us in Dominica. Our first geothermal power plant is, I don't want to say up and running because it's still in the testing phase. They have not yet gotten to the actual commissioning. So far the tests have shown that the power plant operates, it works, the turbines are spinning, the generators are generating, and we've been able to dispatch 2 megawatts to Dominica.
During the testing phase, engineers also successfully dispatched about 2 megawatts of electricity to the national grid. While the facility is still undergoing testing before full commissioning, the development marks encouraging progress for Dominica's renewable energy future. Kuvia John for the Government Information Service.
And yes, my Straight Talk family, 2 megawatts of geothermal power already transmitted to Domlec, the Dominica Electricity Company. Across the Narrows in Nevis, Straight Talk wishes that those who are in control of that process that's been going on for over 20 years. That's understandable. But we hope they will just focus on developing the resource. Stop the blame game and stop the attempts to put more money into your pockets. Let the money go into the pockets of the people who will be looking forward to, who will be the off-takers of that energy, the consumers. Let them save money and stop trying to put money in your pockets. And you recognize Dominica just tested a plant that's only generating 2 megawatts. You're talking about megawatts to sell to the Caribbean. Take one step at a time, Nevis. One step at a time. Our second observation, I would post on your screen without comment. As many have been calling me about this release from the People's Action Movement, PAM. And I will just read its content for those of you we can read it together on your monitors. dated the 26th March 2026, for immediate release from the People's Action Movement. The People's Action Movement, PAM, acknowledges reports that our candidate for constituency number 2, Mr. Nubian Greer, was the subject of a police search earlier today. We understand that the search was conducted on suspicion of controlled drugs, arms, and ammunition, and that Mr. Greer has since been arrested in connection with the alleged controlled substance. At the outset, PAM emphasizes a fundamental principle of the law in St. Kitts and Nevis. Every person is presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Mr. Greer, it continues, is entitled to due process, the protection of his constitutional rights, and a fair and impartial hearing. We expect, it continues, that all actions taken by law enforcement authorities will strictly comply with the law, including the proper execution of such powers, adherence to established procedures, and full respect for the rights of citizens. The integrity of the process is as important as the outcome. PAM is in the process of ascertaining the full facts surrounding the matter. We will be guided by those facts and by our commitment to accountability, fairness, and the rule of law. We urge the public to avoid speculation or premature conclusions and to allow the legal process to proceed without prejudice. The People's Action Movement remains committed to upholding the principles of justice, transparency, and responsible leadership. And that release comes, as you can glean from your screens, the People's Action Movement, PAM. And it is self-explanatory, so no need for me to make any comment whatsoever about it here on Straight Talk tonight. So we'll move to our third observation. And I saw two releases which reminded me of my professional music days when we had what we called then the clash of the bands on the road. Remember those bands used to clash every Juve morning? But what we have now, it seems, is the clash of political parties. Because you will glean as well from your monitors that the Prime Minister's press conference was circulated, and it's stated that the Prime Minister, with his full cabinet, or with his cabinet members, beg your pardon, are expected to hold a press conference on Monday, March 30. And you see to your right, the CCM, or the Premier of Nevis, circulated his press conference for Tuesday, March 31st. But then, my Straight Talk family, we then found that the Premier of Nevis then brought his press conference forward a day. And it states, and I quote, we can read that together. The press conference of the Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Mark Brantley, which was scheduled to take place on Tuesday, March 31 will now take place on Monday, March 30 at 10 a.m. So, we have not the clash of the bands, perhaps the clash of the parties, political parties, or the clash, perhaps it's more appropriate to say, the clash of press conferences. A very interesting development. You wonder why CCM would move from Tuesday to Monday and clash with the Labour press conference. But that's not for us to worry about. I'm sure the media houses will see how best to deal with that particular issue. And our fourth communication or observation, beg your pardon, I was forced to communicate with the PLP leader today because at the edge of the America's counter cartel conference and joint security declaration, which was followed by the Shield of America summit, I ask, why would any political party in St. Kitts and Nevis spew such anti-American venom? My straight dog family.
And with the kind of madman that we have sitting down in the White House, with what he was able to do to Venezuela, which was illegal, where you kidnap an entire head of a government and his wife on trumped up charges, and then you figure, well, okay, well, I'm going after Cuba next. You all have seen the news items. You're going after Cuba next, like Cuba is yours to have. Wow. Well, in spite of that embargo from since 1961, when the U.S. stupidly went in to try to invade that country and got their tail busted. Okay? That is it. And we have to remember that. Okay? The same goes for Iran. You hear it on the news. Oh, well, Iran has been a problem for the U.S. for 47 years. But that's only because you choose to count back 47 years. But Iran had its own democratically elected government who they kick out because the man dared to say that Iranian oil belonged to the Iranian people, not the people of Britain and not the people of the U.S. But then I think Washington underestimated Iran this time. Okay? But there are impacts to be felt here for all of us nevertheless. But we need to decide if we are going to bow down to these big countries who figure that we are little children, as they say, picking children in your own country, and they're going to threaten you with taking away visas because they figure, well, toe the line with us or else.
My Straight Talk family, I believe that there are more Kittitians and Nevisians living in the United States of America than those living here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And we had a choice. And we're not going to China to live. I am sure about that. I speak for every single Kittitian and Nevisian. We're not going to go to China to live. We're not going to Iran either. And we're not going to Cuba. Was. And I submit that for the thousands of Kittitians and Nevisians that are residing and living and will want to visit the United States of America, we have more to lose than to gain from being anti-American. And the facts are pellucid. And I say so with an abundance of respect to everyone under my voice at this time. My fifth and final observation tonight is in reference to Terence Michael Drew, who 2 years ago had a big show, big song and dance, and planted Tabasco seeds with the intent to ship peppers to Tabasco. And he claimed that he invited the company and the project here in St. Kitts and Nevis, or in St. Kitts to be specific.
This concept of having Tabasco here started with a conversation with the Minister of Agriculture and our special envoy, Her Excellency Hadia Claxton, who herself would have introduced us to Tabasco. I invited Tabasco as the Prime Minister to St. Kitts and Nevis, where I met with the leadership of Tabasco International, and they would have met with the Honorable Minister of Agriculture as well. And the determination was made then that St. Kitts and Nevis has the potential to be a producer or grower of this pepper, the Tabasco pepper, where we can actually grow it and export it back to Louisiana so that it can be processed into the end product, which is the pepper sauce.
And that was 2 years ago, my Straight Talk family, in 2024. So Terence Michael Drew lied to the Federation about the employment of some 600 workers when he said this in the Parliament.
Madam Speaker, we have calculated that every 10 acres will produce 30 jobs. So 100 acres will produce 300 jobs. And 200 acres will produce 600 jobs, Madam Speaker, for those who are in the agricultural field. We're going to mix it with other crops. What I'm simply saying here is that we're going back into large farm production of peppers and other crops so that it can add to our revenues and also help with our food security and also make sure that St. Kitts become a net exporter of certain crops instead of a net importer, Madam Speaker.
But where are the peppers? And where are the workers? Only Terence Michael Drew knows. And perhaps the soil at Fars is unproductive. So they have secretly moved from west to northeast to Boreal. But the land is being prepared, my Straight Talk family. We have heard nothing about the seeds that were planted 2 years ago. But land is being prepared at Boreals, as you can see there, my Straight Talk family. They have not planted any seeds as yet. They're just preparing the land, as you can glean from your monitors. So, whatever happens to Tabasco, we will follow it for you, because this government is a government of secrecy, my Straight Talk family. And those are my observations for tonight. And I move right into my thesis, which I have titled, as mentioned earlier, Dancing Hard Before You Dance Abroad. And my fellow citizens and residents of St. Kitts and Nevis, there comes a time in every nation's journey when we must pause and ask ourselves a simple but powerful question. Are we taking care of whom? Today, many of our people are asking that question with growing urgency. They feel it in their pockets. They see it in their communities as they go to the supermarkets and the shops or mini superettes we have now. We don't find much shops, to be honest with you. And these people, we all live it in our daily struggles. Just last week, I told you, my family, about the cost of mackerel in the supermarkets. Mackerel. Poor people food. $30 a pound. How many of us remember those breadfruit and mackerel days? Dumpling and mackerel days is what our parents, our grandparents would cook for us because that's what they could afford. But those days have long gone because mackerel is now costing $30 a pound. But my Straight Talk family, we are a proud people. We are a resilient people. But pride alone cannot carry a nation forward. We need leadership. We need to focus. We need accountability. And all these must guide our path. We have heard the promises. We have seen the headlines. We have watched as our leaders travel across continents. So he's now taking a contingent, he claims, to 5 continents, my Straight Talk family.
On Saturday, I am taking to Nigeria with me a contingent, a full contingent of people from across St. Kitts and Nevis. Not just government officials or civil servants, a full contingent. And I am setting up that and taking them and say, I as the Prime Minister, I have traveled to these places to open doors for you. Now I have brought you. You'll see a very large jet land on the tarmac, which will take a lot of people. So
How many is a lot, Prime Minister?
If I look at the number, I think it's over 100. It's a significant number. If not that, it's very close to 100.
Okay,
but a significant number. It's a lot. And so this trip that I'm taking, I'm going to do 5 critical trips to all the continents because I've traveled and made the contacts and opened some doors. I'm going to take our people to West Africa, which I'm doing on Saturday. I'm going to take our people to North America, both the US and Canada. I'm going to take our people to South America. I'm going to take them to Europe, and I'm going to take them to Asia. So I'm going to take them to the 5 continents.
And my Straight Talk family, the Prime Minister said he hopes, for those who have been asking what is the expected outcome of this trip. And he said he hopes that these people will find opportunities and make connections. But then he admits that he can take these 100 persons to the trough, but he cannot force them to drink.
My hope is that when they go, they will open up their eyes, see opportunities, make the connections. That's the only thing I can do. Their own, I would say, impetus have to be a fundamental part from it. I can take you to the trough, but I can't make you drink.
He can take them to the trough, but he can't make them drink. And yes, there is value in building bridges beyond our shores. But at what cost? And although Prime Minister Juice said that his government will fund the costs, we don't know what costs, my Straight Talk family.
I, as the Prime Minister, will not depend on donors to take our people to the world. This has to be part and parcel of what the government has to do. And that is what I would put there. We cannot do things as normal.
And my Straight Talk family, beware that this second summit is being organized by a company called Aquarian Consult. And we are going to give you some information on this Aquarian Consult. It's not funded or not organized. There's no government input. A private citizen. But we'll tell you more about Aquarian Consult. But let us be clear. A nation cannot thrive abroad if it is struggling at home. Let me repeat that. No nation can thrive abroad if it is struggling at home. And here at home, what we find? Cost of living pressures, lack of jobs and economic opportunities, poor infrastructure and our public services. And the way people feel, if things are not right here at home, why are we focusing so much on the outside or out there? Our people are facing real challenges. Rising costs, economic uncertainty, and concerns about the direction in which our country is heading. Families are tightening their belts. Young people are questioning their future. Small businesses are trying to survive in an increasingly difficult environment. And so, we must ask, where is the urgency for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis? Terence Michael Drew has abandoned the people of St. Kitts and Nevis because he has now considered Africa his home, and he expressed his happiness to be back home. Our Prime Minister was unapologetic in spending thousands of dollars, he claims he paid, to reunite the West and the East. He outlined his role in reconnecting his people on a commercial flight back to the motherland. But meanwhile, his CARICOM colleagues are leading by example. And during these difficult times, his colleagues are actively protecting their people at home. As Roosevelt Skerritt said in his press conference just yesterday, he said this:
Your government has not waited for the situation to worsen. We are actively and decisively working to protect the people of Dominica. Over the coming days and weeks, we will implement a series of targeted measures designed to cushion the impact on households and businesses. First, we will introduce targeted relief measures to help manage the rising cost of living. This will include temporary reductions on duties and taxes on essential goods and increased support for vulnerable households through our social protection programs. Second, we are taking steps to manage energy costs. We will work closely with the Dominica electricity services to moderate the impact of rising fuel prices on electricity tariffs. And of course, geothermal is coming just at the opportune time. Third, we will protect jobs and economic activity. We will engage with stakeholders in tourism, agriculture, and the private sector to ensure continuity and resilience during this period. Fourth, we are strengthening our fiscal management, carefully prioritizing government spending to ensure that critical services are maintained while some discretionary expenditures are deferred.
And those are measures taken by the government of the Republic of Dominica. Next door in Antigua and Barbuda, Gaston Gatidred Brown, his government has introduced their own measures as well, my straight dog family, like these.
After deliberations, that as a matter of policy, it has approved a 10% reduction in the Antigua and Barbuda sales tax, ABST, between the second or third quarters of 2026 as part of ongoing efforts to relieve the cost of living pressures faced by households and stimulate consumer spending. If government is seeing that there is significant loss from the ABST, then it would be reconsidered and other measures would be looked at and introduced. But the aim is to provide relief. And in times of providing relief to the people, sometimes governments must take a little squeeze.
So my Straight Talk family, our neighbors, our neighboring governments have put people first and have provided relief in different forms. Terence Michael Drew has, however, thought it fit to go gallivanting across Africa, having fun at a time when global pressures have increased the cost of food, have increased fuel prices on all households in St. Kitts and Nevis. And we say, dance a yard before you dance abroad. It's an adage that we all know very well. And it is not just a saying. It is a principle. It is a reminder that true leadership begins with serving your own people first. It means fixing what is broken here in your homeland. And this applies not just to St. Kitts and Nevis, but to every Caribbean and by extension world leader. It means strengthening our economies from the ground up. It means ensuring that every citizen feels the benefits of governance and not just hears about them in speeches delivered overseas. And this is not about rejecting the world. This is about getting our priorities right. We are not a nation that lacks potential. We are a nation that demands focus. We need policies that deliver real results, jobs that pay well, systems that work efficiently, and opportunities that reach every corner of our federation. Leadership is not measured by how far you travel. It is measured by how deeply you impact the lives of your people. And Terence Michael Drew told us once that they work from abroad. But Drew and his bunch of experts not only work from abroad, but they also build abroad. And we asked the question before, why build abroad what should be built at home? We told you about the announcement by the government that a new Bastia High School will be built using precast forms manufactured not here in St. Kitts, but in Barbados, to be shipped across the ocean. That's why we called it the Barbados High School, BHS. But let me be clear. This is not just a construction decision. It is an economic and strategic mistake that will cost our people dearly. First, the financial impact. Precast concrete is heavy, bulky, and expensive to transport. Shipping these materials across the ocean adds thousands, even millions in hidden logistics costs, port fees, insurance handling, and cranes. All these costs are being paid to another country instead of creating jobs and opportunities right here at home. Secondly, our local economy is being shortchanged. By outsourcing production, we are losing jobs, we are losing income, and our skills are not being developed. And that could benefit our citizens. Skills development could benefit our citizens. Why are we giving Barbados the economic benefits of this project when St. Kitts has the capacity to grow its own construction sector? This is money leaving our shores, when it should be circulating right here, strengthening our communities. And third, there are risks. Shipping precast materials introduce delays, potential damage, and dependence on foreign suppliers. Hurricanes, port congestion, or shipping mishaps could halt construction for weeks or months. Our government is gambling with our tax dollars on a plan that is both inflexible and vulnerable. And my Straight Talk family, finally, let us talk about accountability and strategy. This decision sends the wrong message that St. Kitts cannot build its own infrastructure, that we must rely on foreign factories to achieve domestic development. And we would strongly reject that narrative. Our people deserve projects that invest in St. Kitts first, and Nevis too, that create jobs. We deserve projects that train our workforce and keep our money at home. We can have modern schools, hospitals, and roads, but only if our government chooses local empowerment over foreign outsourcing, my Straight Talk family. Our local contractors are crying out.
My name is Lennox Warner, and my livelihood is construction. When I recognize the quality and qualifications of our local people, I am still wondering and baffled. Why is it that some of our local engineers, why some of our architects are still playing second fiddle? Why? It is bothering to me. So much people can boast of their track record. We as Kittitians, we want to boast of our track record too.
And why not? And my Straight Talk family, as I said to you before, that's an excerpt from a town hall meeting that was convened by the Team Unity Administration. But this new Bassi High School is being done in the dark. We have not seen the EIA, the Environmental Impact Assessment. We have heard nothing from the Development Control and Planning Board. For that matter, the Ministry of Planning. But the time will come when we must be told about that. We raise our concerns about the earthquake exposure to which we are putting our children, over 1,000 children and over 100 teachers in a prefab building, concrete. But my Straight Talk family and citizens of this country and residents, we must ask, why dance abroad when we have the talent and resources to dance in our own yard first? The choice is clear. Invest at home or pay the price abroad. My fellow citizens and residents, the future of St. Kitts and Nevis, my Straight Talk family, is not written in foreign capitals. It is written right here by the choices we make, the priorities we set, and the standards we demand from those who lead us. Let us therefore stand firm in what we know to be true. Home must come first. Let us call for leadership that listens. Let us call for leadership that acts and that delivers. Not someday, not elsewhere, but here and now, my Straight Dog family. More importantly, let's just call for leadership that's competent. We must find leadership, as I said, that's competent, my Straight Dog family. We must find leadership that builds. We don't need leadership that destroys, my Straight Dog family. We need leadership that builds. And Terence Michael Jew is doing nothing but destroying our country. From the moment he got to office, he has done nothing but to put us on a path to nowhere. He has deprived our country of its money. And my Straight Dog family, we need to let Terence Michael Jew understand that we are the ones who must ensure that he governs and governs the people as we ought to be governed by Straight Dog family. And as we turn another page, and as we look forward and not backward, Terence Michael Jew, we have concluded, and it's not difficult to conclude, has mashed up St. Kitts and Nevis. He has presented 3 successive budget deficits in 3 successive fiscal years by Straight Dog family.
For the year 2024, Parliament approved an expenditure budget of 1.09 billion, which included 33 million in debt repayment. Revenue for the year was estimated at 1.14 billion, and this included the sale of government lands, which was budgeted to bring in 15 million. During 2024, a further 177 million of expenditure was approved by supplementary appropriation warrants. As at December 31st, 2024, actual revenue totaled 807 million, and actual expenditure amounted to 1.069 billion, which resulted in an end-of-year deficit of $261 million. So, Madam Speaker, when you look at all 3 documents, 2024, 2025, and 2026, we're seeing massive budget deficits. If you total them, Madam Speaker, you're speaking of approximately $708 million, almost $250 million in budget deficits in 3 short years, 2024, 2025, and 2026 deficits.
Deficit of almost $750 million. Jew has mashed up our country. He has now put destiny on pause, and perhaps rightly so. But Jew, as chairman for just a little over 2 months, has also mashed up CARICOM. Jew, for example, announced the reappointment of the Secretary General without consulting 3 of its members, namely Antigua and Barbuda, the Bahamas, and Trinidad and Tobago. And you can glean from your monitors, from your screens there, my Straight Talk family. And this article, taken from the Trinidad Express, Prime Minister threatens CARICOM funding cut. And it reads, my Straight Talk family, let's do that together. Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar says she does not support the reappointment of CARICOM Secretary General Dr. Carla Barnett, and that Trinidad and Tobago will be reducing its financial contribution to the regional group. But hear this. CARICOM Chairman and St. Kitts and Nevis Prime Minister Dr. Terence Drew issued a statement yesterday advising that during the CARICOM meeting in St. Kitts in February, the required majority, hear this, the required majority of CARICOM heads of government agreed to the reappointment of Barnett as Secretary General, and her second term of office will begin in August. Well, perhaps that's what the contract states. But why reappoint her 6 months in advance? But hear this. Read the third paragraph. The Express contacted the Prime Minister yesterday and asked if she agreed with this reappointment. Her response was no. Asked if she was disappointed in the reappointment, Persad-Bissessar added, CARICOM has been failing for 52 years and will continue to fail for the next 52 years. Trinidad and Tobago is not going to continue funding CARICOM at the current levels that we are providing. My Straight Talk family, meantime, Terence Drew is going to 5 continents, he announced. But he needs to look. He needs, my Straight Talk family, to look first at home. Because when we strengthen our yard, when we build a nation that works for all, then and only then we can step onto the world stage with confidence, with dignity, and with purpose. And this is not a hard lesson to learn, my Straight Talk family. The steps are simple. In this dance yard, before we dance abroad. And that's my story tonight, my Straight Talk family, and I am not going to change it. I will open the lines and entertain your calls and your emails. And when I do so, I anticipate that you will respect others. And of course, to achieve that, you must first respect yourselves. Let us try to be fair to all concerned, and let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. Let us ensure that the things we say and or do will be beneficial to all concerned. And in the process of saying and or doing those things, let us, my Straight Talk family, strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. With that said, I go to the lines at 4 minutes past the 9 o'clock hour. We take our first call. Say good night, caller. You're live. Hello, caller.
Good night, Mr. Liver.
Good night, my dear. My quotation.
Leadership. Leadership is a privilege to better the lives of others. It is not an opportunity.
It's not an opportunity
to satisfy personal greed.
Satisfy personal greed?
Yes.
Thank you.
I repeat, leadership is a privilege to better the lives of others. It is not an opportunity to satisfy personal greed. Have a great evening.
Have a great evening as well, and always welcome. I have quotations from across the Narrows, always so appropriate, always thought-provoking, and always to the point. Leadership is a privilege to better the life of others. It is not an opportunity to satisfy personal greed. And who can dispute that, my Straight Dog family? But as we see around us, it's not about us, it's about them. Our leaders are not accountable. Our leaders are not transparent. Our leaders just seem to be in a different world. Our leaders ignore governance. And my Straight Talk family, it is frightening at times. Dear Patches reads this email, which is captioned, Taxpayer-Funded Treachery in Abuja. Your listeners need to hear this because it is an absolute insult to every man, woman, and child in St. Kitts and Nevis. While hard-working families in Nevis and Bastia struggle to survive with skyrocketing groceries, unreliable utilities, and the daily grind of making ends meet, Dr. Terence Drew's government decided the best use of our tax dollars was to bankroll a lavish, all-expenses-paid luxury trip to Nigeria for a load of mouthed Jamaican content creator who could not be bothered to represent the country that is feeding him. Essential Jackson, the man behind Essential Jackson, the man behind Perspective Media, beg your pardon, who has built his entire brand repping Nevis, got the royal treatment. He was flown, housed, fed, and paraded around Abuja at the second Afro-Caribbean Investment Summit, all courtesy of the suffering taxpayers of St. Kitts and Nevis. And what does he do once he lands on African soil? He proudly waves the Jamaican flag like a tourist ignoring our twin island nation. Not a word, not a gesture, not a damn shred of loyalty or gratitude. This is not just tone deaf. This is humiliation. This is betrayal. Pensioners worry about their next meal. Young people leave these islands for better opportunities. And Drew's administration plays fairy godmother to a man who treats our nation like a blasted sideshow. Dr. Drew and his cabinet have humiliated St. Kitts and Nevis and shown they have no pride, no loyalty, and no damn shame. They have made fools of us all, and every citizen watching this disgrace should be furious. Enough is enough. That's interesting. Very interesting, as this emailer wrote, that Essential Jackson, the man behind Perspective Media, I think we are familiar with that, he landed on African soil on Drew's trip, and he probably waves the Jamaican flag like a tourist ignoring our Twin Island Federation. Imagine that, my Straight Dog family. This is what Drew is all about. But at 9 minutes past the 9 o'clock hour, for those who may have just joined us, we are looking at the issues before us. And our caption tonight, our thesis, dance a yard before you dance abroad. And that's an old adage I am sure we are quite familiar with. And we must know it is not just a saying, as I mentioned earlier. It is a principle. It is a reminder that true leadership begins with serving your own people first, my Straight Talk family. And what Terence Michael Drew has gone, as we say in colloquial parlance, gone gallivanting all across Africa, which he calls his home. When he told us he met a lady, he thought it was his aunt. She looked like his aunt, he said. And people look like Kittians. He said, Ghana looks like St. Kitts. Oh my. But having fun at a time when global pressures have increased food and fuel prices on all households in St. Kitts and Nevis. And you must take a book or a leaf out of the book of Roosevelt Skerritt, who has done this for Dominicans.
Your government has not waited for the situation to worsen. We are actively and decisively working to protect the people of Dominica. Over the coming days and weeks, we will implement a series of targeted measures designed to cushion the impact on households and businesses. First, we will introduce targeted relief measures to help manage the rising cost of living. This will include temporary reductions on duties and taxes on essential goods and increased support for vulnerable households through our social protection programs. Second, we are taking steps to manage energy costs. We will work closely with the Dominica Electricity Services to moderate the impact of rising fuel prices on electricity tariffs. And of course, geothermal is coming just at the opportune time. Third, we will protect jobs and economic activity. We will engage with stakeholders in tourism, agriculture, and the private sector to ensure continuity and resilience during this period. Fourth, we are strengthening our fiscal management, carefully prioritizing government spending to ensure that critical services are maintained while some discretionary expenditures are deferred.
And what Terence Michael Drew has done, if he's telling the truth, he has taken money out of the treasury and has funded a trip with 100 or more persons, my Straight Talk family, to Africa. Sometimes we don't know if we should believe him. But he said it. He said he is paying for the trip from the government treasury, my Straight Talk family. This is what he said.
I, as the Prime Minister, will not depend on donors to take our people to the world. This has to be part and parcel of what the government has to do. And that is what I would put there. We cannot do things as normal.
He's taking out money from the treasury while people are suffering. And what his colleague is doing next door, the Gazi-Dread government, my Straight Talk family, has in fact taken their own measures. But let's go back to the lines and say good night to this caller. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Patrick, good night.
Good night, my brother. Sounds like Mr. Politics.
Yes, Patrick, first I always want to thank God for life.
Yes, please.
And thank God for this blessed country, think it Nevis. A country that we people could do better. But these evil people we put into government and all about themselves and their family and friends. Patches, I just hope Kitishans and Nevisians are aware of what's going on in this country. And we are aware of what's going on with these people who we elect in government. Patches, I do not know if you listened to the town hall meeting last night.
Possibly.
I listened last night because I didn't get to go because I didn't want to go, but I didn't get to go. But Patches, you hear farmers cry out in that town hall meeting. Yep. You hear a lady where they work in the agriculture department, in the vetting department. She was there. And she was a good lady serving the people out in the field with animal. Patches, these people are serious about not running the affairs of the government for the people of this country. They only care about themselves and try to make themselves look good. Tell me any other country or the Patches take up people flying out complain, any other government doing these things. Just because the election coming up and they're trying to bribe people. But Patches, I want to know if the people of this country going to allow all these political bribe and all these nonsense this government doing to them. They're going to walk them back in your Patches. Because Patches, agriculture, people, livestock farmers are suffering. Bad. When you go to the agriculture department, you can't get the medication you want for the animal them. Patches, is this week I'm going to put up there. One cattle, I'm going to put them up there this week. Because the dorm are coming back on again. And it looks like they are the cheapest thing. So the medication where they are working. And people better stop looking at these people just up and down dry road in that place. Trying to political bribe people, doing all kind of nonsense. But as I always say now, me no politics, me nobody. I am about my country. And I am about when you elect a government or somebody in your constituency, you elect them in your constituency to vote for you, to represent you. And do what I got to do for you, you know. When you get elected, you know. Not going there and enjoy, wait, complain and do all kind of thing and build big houses and do all kind of thing. But if I get back, I want to say good night to my good friend to Mr. Jones from Nevis over in the United States of Canada and to Mr. Welcome. Because these men over in the diaspora and they're concerned about what's going on in this country. But it seems like a people here know what's going on and they're concerned about what's going on. Patches, good night. If I get anything else, I'll come back.
Yes, my brother. Good night. Always welcome your contribution. And yes, he's gone to Africa. And his first thing, he was happy to be back home.
Happy to be back home, back to Abuja, Nigeria. I was here last year for the Africa-Caribbean Summit, and accompanying me is Minister Samuel Duggins, Minister of Agriculture, Creating Economy, Etal. Of course, we have to my left Aisha. She needs no introduction, of course. So I want to thank her very much for really pioneering, organizing this type of summit so that we can build what they would call the transatlantic bridge, the connection between the Caribbean and Africa. And I think that it is bearing fruit because this year we expect to, of course, expand on what we would have done last year.
Yes, my Shredog family, he's gone back home. The lines are open, my Shredog family. But our Prime Minister has gone on a joyride. While his colleagues, CARICOM colleagues in particular, are looking after their people. This is what is happening in in are you there, caller? Okay. Yes, caller, you're live. Hello. Sorry about that. Caller, you're live.
Good night, Mr. Liver.
Yes, good night, my brother. How are you? Sounds like...
Oh, I'm not doing too bad for my age.
Carl Brown.
Yes. And good evening to the listeners home and abroad. That's it. The December budget that's gone. Did we get any information that this trip gone to 5 continents was budgeted for?
No.
So the Prime Minister said on Freedom Radio, the government is paying for the trip of those 100 and plus people going to 5 continents. Where did that money come from if it was not budgeted for?
Well, if you follow his last 3 budgets, he has overspent every single one, you know.
Yes.
So all he does is do a supplementary appropriation warrant, they call them, and take the money out of the treasury. And at the end of the year, he tells he spends, he budgets $1 billion and he spends $1.2 billion, over $200 million extra. And this is what he gets away with.
Another thing again, Patrick, that we have stick by and let it starting by agreed is in the budget address in December also, when the Honorable Timothy Harris brought to our attention that $27 million was loaned to Marriott Hotel.
Mm-hmm.
That was not budgeted for the budget before. Question again, where did the government take that money from to lend Marriott, a worldwide brand? Now, if you have a worldwide brand, Patrick, why can't other countries, other brands help you out on this end of the brand if you are in financial difficulty? Those sending auditors to audit up quarterly, half yearly or yearly to see how the hotel brand is running in this part of the world, whatever country, nation or state. These are things is done, Patrick. Marriott are telling the people, so the people would have seen that they are in financial ruin. And why is it that they choose to go to think it's government? It was a secret, Patrick, that was blown out. And we let that pass by. Easy like that. Look at it again. What the Honorable Sean Richard got to our attention again? What is $800 and something million overspent?
708, yeah.
Okay, 700 and plus, almost $800 million. Why are we sitting by and not asking the question, how did this government that just got into power overspend almost $1 million? Sorry, almost $1 billion. Why are these questions not asked by our journalists when they go to round tables and stuff like that? These are questions we are supposed to, the public need to know. The other thing before I go past it, look at it again. It's step program that is called, that is set there too. That was set there for many years under two governments before to help businesses. But if there was no town hall meetings, there was no discussion with the Small Business Association if that is not in a coma or is not dead. Or let's say the vendors and the small shops and small businesses Patches, I give them this idea many times. I give it to the last two governments. I said, listen, this program is supposed to help small, upcoming, and growing business for 2 years. Patches, I said to them, give the people, these small businesses, small entrepreneurs, the workers, to work for 2 years. In 2 years, your business should begin to get a footing and begin to move. After 2 years, your business should be able to either employ or these people should be able to start up something of their own. And the program should have skill training, not you on that program for your life. And people are supposed to graduate, move out, and other people come in. But the government up and done with the program, no discussion with the small business people. Lots of small business cannot afford that 250 a week Patches because there's not happening in the economy. They're not even making it.
Okay, my brother.
So when you want to tell small business, imagine you got 3 or 4 workers, and you want to tell small business they got to pay 250 and they're not making it.
Okay.
So the next thing is to do is to lay off the workers.
Okay. Yes. Got you, Carl. Got you loud and clear. Thanks a lot for your contribution. And we go back to the lines and thank this caller. You're live. Hello, caller. Hello.
Greetings, Mr. Patches.
Greetings, my brother. How are you?
I'm very good. What about you?
I am peaceful, my brother.
All right. I continue good thesis from since the year start. You started out with some very good thesis that concern the development of the country. And that is good. I give you kudos for that.
Thank you, my brother.
And the lady with the quotations, she always hit the nail on the head. With whatever thesis you choose, she always have a quotation to correspond with that. That's very good of our people. Whenever conflict arises between material and spiritual values, the conscience plays an important role. And anyone who suffers from a guilty conscience is never free from this problem until he make peace with his conscience. Mr. Patches, one or two of your observations in review tonight. Talk about the press conferences. And if I'm not mistaken, one should be on the 30th and one should have been on the 31st. But it reschedules for both of them now to be on the 30th. That's right?
Yes, my brother. Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. Uh-huh.
So what I'm saying with that, Mr. Patches, you see, that's what I said earlier. When the CARICOM session was here in St. Kitts, even though the opposition is not slated to make no big decision, I said, as a citizen, I would give the Premier of Nevis, with his delegation, an invitation to the CARICOM summit. And why I say that? Because when the government change and we get this government, as a citizen, it always seems to me as though the relationship between St. Kitts and Nevis is being improved much better than how it was. That's the perception it was putting out. So when you hear the CARICOM mishap, because I feel that's a mishap, I would give an invitation just to show that I myself is even more cooperative with my people. That's how I look at it, because if we putting out to say where we have a national prayer, we should show improvement in our surroundings. That's what prayer does. Another thing to Mr. Patches. You see, I agree with you. The anti-American rhetoric in He needed. Because you see, when the Prime Minister of Trinidad say what she had to say, some persons get offended. Really, and what she said was in reference to our people around the world. You must consider those things when you are head of state. And when you come to America, ain't that you're bowing down to America. But if you understand the predicament that your people is in, you must know how to stir the water. So I agree with you. The American rhetoric, that's not needed. We got to be more sensible, take things in a more sensible approach, because Iran got his problems, Cuba got the problems, all of them systems need reforming. And that is what the Prime Minister of Trinidad tried to show the CARICOM leaders. Echo for the sentiments that Cuba system will reform. They say they have a system, if they cannot reform the system to please the people, why continue with the system? And she make a good point. And if you are saying, Mr. Patches, government is continuous, we are a young democracy, but we only could be strengthened depends on the policies that we uphold. So for instance, if the government is continuous and the government before had a policy in place that was really empowering the people in certain ways, if you abandon certain policies, you weaken your system of your country. You're killing the continuous spirit that is needed. For instance, Mr. Patches, I'll give you an example. If a government is giving $10,000 to its citizens, and I campaign and say, I'm going to give 15, I have to see the way I would really manage myself to give 15 to counter that. If not, no use saying it, because if you get elected and you give that 15, you're strengthening the continuous government of the country. And last thing, when you listen to the news, through the CARICOM, Caribbean, and international news, it seems as though, especially when you listen to the news of Antigua, it seems as though the government of Antigua is more in collaboration with the Contractors Association in Antigua. Whereas in St. Kitts, it don't seem as though we have that bright relationship between the government and the Contractors Association. The point what Lennox wanted to make years back was very interested, and it's good when you put those brides on the news that people can see.
Yes,
Mr. Patrick, you continue to stay strong and stay healthy. God bless.
God bless you as well. Always welcome your contributions. And our quotation for tonight, let's share our family. Leadership is a privilege to better the life of others. It is not an opportunity to satisfy personal greed. Caller, I want to thank you for holding your live. Hello, caller.
Thank you, Brother Patches. I've waited patiently.
Thanks for that. Thanks for your patience, sir.
Brother Patches, our country is not getting richer, St. Kitts and Nevis. We're getting poorer. With all these wild, crazy spending, the intake is great. The intake is less than what goes out. So how are we managing? Now, for the Prime Minister to do such a thing at this time, why didn't they had done this plan early up in the year? This whole thing look like bribery. Who they are enticing? 100 people, 200 people? Doesn't make no sense. everything has been proposed or made done manifest at the last moment. Election is coming up. I hope the people will record all these because they are into bribery to the full extent. These matters need an investigation. The new administration that is yet to come, and it will come, they have to open up an investigation against these people who abuse the country, and they should be jailed if they're found guilty, and they are guilty. They said there are no government has been jailed as yet in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. But we should jail all these people who are raping the treasury. And you know something? Early up in the year, I said I saw $1 billion in the treasury. And I'm worried that there might be zero, because if the Prime Minister is dipping in the treasury for his supplementary, what will be left for me to give my people? What I've stated before, I said I'm going to give them $3,000. That's at first hand. And if there are an amendment to give more, I will give more. I'd rather give my people the money or whatever needs than for it to be wasted in these foolish ways. And that my people will happy. If we all are poor, if one poor, all of us poor. If we all are rich, then we all become rich. Equality, I promote, and I will continue to promote that. This government definitely need to change. Last but not least, thank you, Mr. Politics. I've heard you. You have acknowledged me, and I hope more people will acknowledge me. But I mean good for the country, and it's not just for me. We are all equal. Thank you.
Thank you, my brother. We go back to the lines and thank this caller for holding. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Yes, Patrice. Carl Brown here again.
Yes, sir.
Patrice, question. This trip with these 100 plus people gone on the Five Nation tour. Question. Did the Prime Minister went to Nevis and sit down or invite down the Nevis government to have a discussion with them, letting them know that this trip is coming up, because remember, he's the Prime Minister for the Federation. And the other question is, has any ministers from Nevis on that trip, and how many people from Nevis also is on that trip as citizens of Nevis?
I think you made a good point, because someone and I discussed that very issue, and we gathered that there are two persons from Nevis. I have confirmed, I understand one is a masquerade, I'm not too certain, but there's this Anslin guy, Anslin, whatever is his first name, Anslin from Nevis is also on the trip. You see, he gave over a painting or something he handed over with the Samuel Duggins. So at least we know one is on there too. 2 of the 100, but that's not
good, Patrice.
At least 25% based on what's normal. The population sizes should be from Nevis. I would support that. Yeah.
And then, Patrick, there is no government official on that trip from Nevis.
Okay.
Has any government official is on that trip from Nevis?
Not to my knowledge, so.
Patrick, here again, every time Labour is in, that is why Nevis going to always have the secession route in the head, because this is how they're being treated every time Labour rules. Now, Patrick, you gone on that trip. The Premier of Nevis and the Agriculture Minister at least from Nevis should have been on that trip. You know why, Patrick? The Premier would have been able to discuss with investors and, other people to bring some beneficiary to Nevis. The agricultural minister from Nevis would have been there to back up Samuel as federal. Because Samuel gone, did he went to Nevis and discuss with the agricultural minister in Nevis that they're taking this trip and so on? And they are giving him an official invitation to come on that trip to do some bilateral talks and agreement to achieve some things for Nevis too. Now when Samuel come back, what he's going to bring back and what he's going to go over to Nevis to tell Nevis. That went on the agricultural minister of Nevis. What the Prime Minister is going to tell you, Honorable Mark Brantley, that he bring back for the Federation. Because why? You see the question then, Patrick?
I'm listening, my brother. I'm listening.
Then what you're going to do? Call a round table and call a press conference and say you bring back these things for the Federation, or these bilateral agreement was agreed upon by the Federation when you had no discussion with the government in Nevis?
Yes, my brother. Got you loud and clear. Yes. Very pertinent. We go back to the lines and thank this caller for holding. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller. It's 9:41. Sounds like the Bible man.
Yes, the Bible man is here.
Psalm 37. Fret not thyself.
I am not fretting myself at all, Mr. Patrick. Neither we envy again to work of us iniquity. For the soon shall cut down like a grass and wither away. I have no time to fret myself.
Yes.
That is the word of God said in Psalm 41. Blessed is the man
considers the poor.
That considereth the poor. In the time of trouble, the Lord shall deliver him. But when you consider it, I am dealing with Psalm 41 tonight. When you consider it the poor, the Lord is going to strengthen you. The Lord is going to keep you alive because you are looking after the poor, Mr. Patrick. And all what's going on in St. Kitts today, that the poor are trodden down. If you read in Proverbs chapter 22 and 20, something wrong there. But I'm saying tonight, Mr. Patrick, all I've been hearing, the poor are crying out. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I'm listening, my brother.
And it is hard, Mr. Patrick, that when a man gone into government and say he professed to be a born-again believer, and Patrick, he got a big Bible in front of him. And he don't remember that the Bible says in Psalm 41, blessed is the man that considereth the poor. I wonder when he sleep at night time if he don't remember that. I said it is good. And I'm saying, me just said to myself, Lord, God is so merciful. God is so loving. And so, it is the mercy of God while we are here. And while we get up at morning, it is God take us up. And we not consider our brothers and sisters. Lord have mercy. But I'm saying to you, Mr. Patrick, the time is going to come. And the time around the corner now. Because when you see and you remember and all what happened today, The man who they know the time is up, so they're doing all the kind of things. You see what they do? They cover 100 people. And I'm telling you, that is, I am saying, sorry to say that, but a campaign, they won't go campaign. But listen, I am saying tonight, and when the Bible says, blessed is the man that considereth the poor, and the same poor people don't want you to you regret the poor people, you throw them down, you throw them away for 5 years, and now you're coming back because you know the time is. Listen, Psalm 75, God said, promotion neither coming from the east nor the west. Promotion coming from God. He put up and he take down. God in heaven, let this thing happen. That is, okay. Last thing I'm going to ask you a question. You went to the town hall meeting last night?
No, I did not know.
You did not went?
No, sir.
Well, it was wonderful. I look at it and it was wonderful.
Yes, I saw past.
It's just like when campaign starts, it's just like a campaign. Okay. That is for you. Bye-bye.
Have a good night, my brother. That's the Bible man and his favorite Psalm, Psalm 41. It's 14 before the 10 o'clock hour. There are those who may have joined me for the first time. So we can inform you that Straight Talk is heard every Monday and Thursday night from 8 to 10 in the PM. And each Monday and Thursday, we present what we call a thesis. We provide updates through our observations and review. And for tonight's thesis, we titled Dance a Yard Before You Dance Abroad. And our Prime Minister is currently dancing abroad while things are so difficult for the people in the country with the issues that have arisen out of the hostilities in Iran. Lest we forget the hostilities still going on in the Russians over there. And it has caused fallout. We heard about the Straits of Hormone being blocked. And we have seen what is the derivative effect, I call it, in terms of the cost of fuel. But while our government is taking money from the treasury and according to him funding a trip around the world, well, I don't know if this one is going to 5 continents or it will come back to St. Kitts. But presently they went to Abuja in Nigeria. We told you of the measures that Roosevelt's carriage is taking in Dominica. The Gaston Brown government, Gazi Dredd, who has announced that the elections will be in 90 days. He too has introduced measures in Antigua. Here are some of them.
After deliberations, that as a matter of policy, it has approved a 10% reduction in the Antigua and Barbuda sales tax, ABST, between the second or third quarters of 2026 as part of ongoing efforts to relieve the cost of living pressures faced by households and stimulate consumer spending. If government is seeing that there is significant loss from the ABST, then it would be reconsidered and other measures would be looked at and introduced. But the aim is to provide relief, and in times of providing relief to the people, sometimes governments must take a little squeeze.
And yes, governments, as I said, take a little squeeze. Our government, our present government, don't. But as I said from the onset, as we wind down tonight's program in my Straight Talk family, I said from the onset that there comes a time in every nation's journey when we must pause. We must pause and reflect on our disposition as a country. We must also pause and ask ourselves questions. And there's one simple but powerful question that I suggested earlier. To wit, are we taking care of home? Africa is not our home. So I'm not going to be, and we must not be fooled by our Prime Minister that he's back home. Africa is not our home. Not at all, my Straight Talk family. Africa is not our home.
Happy to be back home, back to Abuja, Nigeria. I was here last year for the Africa-Caribbean Summit, and accompanying me is Minister Samuel Duggins, Minister of Agriculture, Creating Economy, Etal. Of course, we have to my left Aisha. She needs no introduction, of course. And so I want to thank her very much for really pioneering, organizing this type of summit so that we can build what they would call the transatlantic bridge, the connection between the Caribbean and Africa. And I think that it is bearing fruit because this year we expect to, of course, expand on what we would have done last year.
What we suggest is he stay home. Don't come back here. Can't build a bridge between St. Kitts and Nevis. He's constructing a transatlantic bridge. But the people, today, many of our people are asking that question with growing urgency. Are we taking care of our home? Because we are feeling it in our pockets. We are seeing it in our communities. And we are living it in our daily struggles. Dog family, it is tough. But we are a proud people, a resilient people. But pride alone cannot carry a nation forward. Leadership focus, and accountability must guide our path. We have heard the promises. We have seen the headlines. We have watched as our leaders travel across continents, and now he has taken over 100 people to Africa. But if things are not right at home, how can we focus so much on the outside? Our people are facing real challenges, as I said, rising costs, economic uncertainty, and concerns about the direction in which our country is heading. Families must tighten their belts. Young people are questioning whether they have a future. Our small businesses can't survive in this increasingly difficult environment. And so we must ask, where is the urgency for the people of St. Kitts and Nevis? Terence Michael Drew has abandoned the people and now considered Africa his home, and has expressed his happiness to be back home. Stay in Africa, Terence Michael Drew. Stay home. You can't dance abroad if you can't dance a yard. And that is a saying we know very well. And not just a saying, I must add. It is a principle. It is a reminder that true leadership begins with serving your people first. It means strengthening our economy from the ground up. It means ensuring that every citizen feels the benefits of governance and not just hears about them in speeches and delivery overseas. Not at all, my Straight Talk family. The people deserve better than that. And this is not about rejecting the world. This is about getting our priorities right. We are not a nation that lacks potential. We are a nation that demands focus. We need policies that deliver real results, jobs that pay well, systems that work efficiently, and opportunities that reach every corner of our federation. Leadership is not measured by how far you travel. No, it is measured by how deeply you impact the lives of your people, Terence Drew. But you not only dance abroad, building abroad, my Straight Talk family, building abroad is what you are doing. As we wind down, I'll take this and perhaps make this my final call for tonight. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Good evening. Good evening, Calicwan Aunt. How are you this evening?
I am peaceful, Calicwan Aunt. How are you?
Oh, it seemed like a call too late. It's just a minute to 10.
Yes, you got 2 seconds.
What is the topic tonight? Those 100 people have gone away?
You don't listen. Our topic tonight is dance a yard before you dance abroad. You heard that before, right?
Yes.
Okay.
You're going to make me laugh all night. Mr. Liebert, wait, tell me something. He get a sponsor? to carry those people there?
No, he said the government is paying. That's what he said. I don't know how true it is.
The government pay for that.
That's what he said.
Oh, that's what he said.
So hard to believe sometimes, you know.
I telling you tonight, Mr. Lloyd, but that man do not know what he doing, you know. That man do not know what he doing. He cannot run this country. A country is not easy to run. He cannot run this country. He doing a lot of nonsense. He walking up and he waiting.
Hey dear, my dear, we seem to have lost you. Oh my. There's something wrong with that telephone. CARICOM's aunt. You always seem to drop out.
Baby.
Yes, you're there. Hello.
Yes, Mr. Lloyd, but I get cut off.
No, you didn't get cut off. Your phone dropped out.
Oh, okay, because last week Thursday, I think you never on. So what I'm telling you, right?
Mm-hmm.
This country is not easy to run, Mr. Lloyd, but this is a very, very tough thing we facing underneath government here.
Yep.
He need to tell himself, let he get up. Let he come out. And let somebody who have the full experience rule this country. Otherwise, a couple of months from now, we think it's going to be. We think it's going to be the people of this country who are currently now, Mr. Lloyd, shock and shame how this man running the country. But I could tell him tonight, you know. I could tell him tonight, wherever he be, and he'll listen, you know. Harris again, because who God bless, no man curse. Harris again. They could kick up, they could pass, they could say whatever they want to say. Or they talk anything about him, but he don't care. He don't care, because well, God is for him. He don't care tonight who against him.
Okay, my dear. Have a wonderful
You have
night.
a wonderful. Yes, you too, baby, and you get home safe.
Thank you very much. Rest well. We go back to the lines, and I take this and make this my final call for the night. Caller, you are live. It's 2 minutes past 10. I'm out of time. You there?
Yes, Patches, real quickly, man.
Oh.
To the people of St. Kitts Nevis, don't forget tomorrow there's the awareness march at the West Side Ferry and Bus Terminal, put on by DJ Marisha. Tomorrow, awareness march.
Okay.
And April 10th, April 10th, over on Nevis, there's going to be a march to show solidarity for Banky and Jama and all of those persons on Nevis that been arrested recently. People, do not miss these two opportunities. Go on out and show solidarity and stand up to the injustices what's going on in St. Kitts and Nevis. Thanks a lot, Patches, man. Have a good night.
Have a good night, my dear brother. Thanks for your information. And as we wind down tonight's programming, we spoke about the building overseas, which we refer to as the Barbados High School. Because the high school is being built using precast forms that are being manufactured, not here in St. Kitts, but in Barbados, to be shipped across the sea, across the ocean. And this is not just a construction decision. It is an economic and strategic mistake that will cost our people dearly. You've heard this on Straight Up. The financial impact. Shipping these materials across the ocean adds thousands, even millions in hidden logistic costs. About sourcing production, well, we've lost jobs, income, and skills development that could be or could benefit our citizens. And the risk in shipping precast materials, introduce delays, potential damage, and dependence on foreign suppliers. But my Straight Talk family, finally, what about accountability? Every time Joe puts his hand to something, he sends the wrong message in everything he does. And my Straight Talk family, our people deserve projects that invest in St. Kitts and Nevis first, so we can create jobs, train our workforce, and keep our money at home. Let it circulate, let it trickle down, let it cascade in our economy. My Straight Talk family, we must ask, why dance abroad when we have the talent and resources to dance in our own yard first? The choice is clear. My Straight Talk family, invest at home or pay the price abroad. The future of St. Kitts and Nevis is not written in foreign capitals. It is written right here by the choices we make, the priorities we set, and the standard we demand from those who lead us. Let us therefore stand firm in what we know to be true. Home is where the heart is. Charity begins at home. Home must come first. Let us call for leadership that listens, that acts, and that delivers, not someday, not elsewhere, but here and now. And more importantly, let us call for leadership that's competent. Leadership that builds and not destroys. I told you, Drew, as chairman of CARICOM, mashed it up in just 2 months. Now we're hearing Kamla threatens to reduce funding for CARICOM. My Straight Talk family, whereas Drew said he's going to 5 continents, but may I advise him, first, look at home. Because when we strengthen our yard, when we build the federation that works for all, then and only then can we step onto the world stage with confidence, with dignity, and with purpose. This is not a hard lesson to learn. Dance a yard before you dance abroad. And that was my story tonight, and I am not going to change it. I want to thank Almighty God for blessing our program each time. He guides us. I want to thank you, the many listeners, the many viewers. I want to thank you. I want to thank those who call and those who send emails. Remember, you are the ones who make Straight Talk, and for that reason, I say a big, big thank you. Until we connect on Monday for another edition of Straight Talk, be good to yourselves and to all whom you meet. My Straight Talk family, remember that whatever the mind conceives, that you will achieve. But first of all, you got to believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Straight Talk family, keep moving on. Bye-bye. Until we connect on Monday, have yourselves a wonderful weekend. keep moving on.
In the morning, I thank God for the morning light. Give him thanks and praises for taking me safely through the night. For the rest of food and loving care, and for my mother's breath of life that's got me here. So whatever my mind conceives that I will achieve, you better believe, because I do the things I should, be to my brethren kind and good, the best I could. So I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow. Down on my knees, the Lord I kneel and pray, with my heart and soul, beg him to take me through each day, my guardian to keep and my guide over every step I take.